It all started in January, my first time diving into the world of Tinder. I had heard stories from friends, seen the memes, and figured, why not give it a shot? After all, I wasn't looking for anything serious, just some fun, maybe meet new people, and see what happened. To my surprise, I matched with a girl who, like me, was an engineering major at the same university. That seemed like a good sign. At least we had something in common. She was cute, and from our chats, it was clear that she was smart, maybe even a little nerdy, which I liked. We went on a couple of dates, and everything felt easy. We could talk about anything: science, life, even silly stuff. I thought we had a real connection. After those first couple of dates, I started to think this might actually go somewhere. She was different from the other girls I had dated. There was substance there, a depth I didn't always find with Tinder matches. We both had this passion for science, and it felt like I was finally meeting someone on the same wavelength. The dates weren't extravagant, but they were fun. Coffee, a movie, even a long walk around campus where we laughed and talked about our classes. By the end of each one, I'd find myself wanting to know more about her, and I could tell she felt the same. Then came that Friday night, the one that still lingers in my mind with an odd mixture of confusion and disappointment. It was mid-February, right in the thick of the semester, and I was deep into studying for my stats midterm. I was stressed but focused, going through problem sets in my dorm when I got a text from her. "Hope your midterm goes well. Why don't you come over for board games after?" she wrote. Now, I've been known to be pretty oblivious when it comes to hints, but board games on a Friday night? That sounded like code for something more. My heart picked up a bit and I smiled. I figured this was her way of making a move. The thought of unwinding after the exam with her sounded perfect. After hours of cramming probability distributions and sample means, I was eager to escape the monotony. I quickly wrapped up my study session, confident I had done all I could for the midterm, and texted her back that I'd be over after the exam. The exam went about as well as could be expected, some tricky questions, but nothing I hadn't prepared for. As soon as I handed in my paper, a rush of relief swept over me. The stress of the week was gone, and I had something to look forward to. I was practically floating on the bus ride to her place, replaying the past few weeks in my head. We'd had a good run so far, and I was optimistic that tonight would take things to the next level. When I arrived at her place, everything seemed to confirm what I had suspected. The lights were dimmed just enough to create a warm, intimate atmosphere. There was a bottle of wine on the table, 2 glasses waiting to be filled. I could already see how the evening was going to unfold. I smiled to myself, mentally patting my back for picking up on her signals this time. We sat down at the small kitchen table, and she poured us each a glass of wine. I could feel my pulse quicken as the conversation drifted from casual small talk to a more comfortable, laid-back vibe. Everything was aligning perfectly. My mind raced ahead to where the night might lead. The wine, the lighting, her inviting smile, it was all part of the setup, I was sure of it. And then it happened. She got up, disappeared for a moment, and came back holding a box. I craned my neck to see what it was, expecting maybe another bottle of wine or something else that would match the tone of the night. But instead, she set down Settlers of Catan. Now, don't get me wrong, I love board games. I've spent plenty of nights playing Catan with friends, strategizing over roads and settlements, haggling over wheat and ore. But this was not what I had expected. This was supposed to be a night of romance, or at least that's what I had thought. Instead, it turned into a 2-hour session of trading sheep for wood and plotting the longest road. She explained the rules I already knew, but I nodded along, trying to hide my confusion. I kept waiting for something more to happen, some subtle flirtation or suggestive comment, but nothing. She was all business, fully immersed in the game. I made an effort to enjoy myself, and for a while I did. I got into the strategy of it, started making moves, blocking her settlements, trying to win. But as the hours ticked by, the reality of the situation began to sink in. This was just a regular game night. There wasn't any hidden meaning behind her invitation, no coded message in the wine and lighting. She simply wanted to play Catan. By the time we wrapped up the game, I was feeling more deflated than anything. She won, by the way, not that it mattered. She smiled, gave me a friendly hug at the door, and said she'd see me around. I stood there for a moment, stunned. No hookup, no kiss goodnight, not even a hint that she might have been interested in anything more. Just Catan. On the bus ride home, I couldn't help but replay the evening in my mind, trying to figure out where I had gone wrong. I had misread the entire situation from the start. It wasn't that she wasn't interested in me, she was. We had a good connection after all. But clearly, she was content with just being friends, or at least, that's how it seemed. I had gone in with expectations, and those expectations had been completely flipped. I spent the next few days reflecting on it, trying to shake off the disappointment. It wasn't a bad night, not really. In fact, I had fun. But it wasn't what I had hoped for, and that's what stuck with me. It wasn't about the board game itself. It was the realization that sometimes, no matter how much you think you understand someone, they can still surprise you in ways you don't see coming. Looking back, I realized it wasn't about the hookup or the missed opportunity for romance. It was about learning to take things as they come, without always expecting something more. Maybe that's what I needed at the time, a reminder that not everything in life goes the way you plan. And honestly, it's a lesson that's stayed with me ever since.